the third generation Acura RDX, practically everything has changed. The RDX is adapting the new design language that implements that diamond-shaped grille. The dual eye headlights, which are a standard feature with the new RDX, are very prominent in the front. But I love the way this car looks. It's just chiseled and sharp, but it isn't overdoing it. I think every exterior angle of the RDX looks really good. But the thing that is strange is the size of the wheel wells. The wheels that we currently have here are 19 inches, and you can go up to as large as 20 inches for the a-spec trim, but I find that the wheels are just too small in that space. They do need to be bigger to really complete the look of this car. Another factor with that a-spec as well is that those wheels are blacked out, so maybe that contributes to what I think is a better looking trim. Now with the 2019 model year, the RDX is introducing an all new platform for Acura specifically. One of the persisting arguments with Japanese luxury brands like Lexus or Infiniti and Acura as well is that they have their roots of the more economy driven vehicles. An easy jab in an Acura owner is that they have a car that is just a little bit of a pimped up Honda. This though, Acura is really trying to change it with a mainstream vehicle like this compact SUV. It's riding on that platform, which is unique to Acura, like I said. It's launching its new infotainment system with a 10.2-inch touchscreen and this trackpad down here, which we'll get to a little later, and try and make Acura a more competitive vehicle in its space. So right now you only have one engine with the RDX. It's a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It produces 272 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to the 10-speed transmission that you'll find in a few other Honda vehicles like the new Odyssey and the new Accord. There is at times where it can really kick itself into gear, and it isn't the smoothest from time to time. The paddles are a standard feature. It hiccups every once in a while, definitely not every time though. The engine, you can detect a good amount of turbo lag even when you're in the most aggressive Sport Plus driving mode. But I get the sense that it's more powerful than it actually is, because you do get a great forward thrust every time you hit your foot onto that throttle. Briefly going back to Sport Plus mode, as I mentioned, you do have 4 different driving modes that you use through this dynamic mode switcher right in front of you. And I really don't like how this part of the cabin is laid out. It's easy to reach, yeah, but I feel like it's just taking up a lot of space that could perhaps be used by other things. Like for example, I really don't like how we have the automatic stop-start button right here. It seems out of place and a bit ugly. The stitching and the leather is wonderful in here. And the sound system, this ELS Studio 3D, it may be the best I've ever come across in a car. It's brilliant, and I can't explain why I prefer this over other systems. And I'm not really an audiophile, so I'm not really one to throw out really technical jargon. But this is one of the best I have come across, irrespective of price point and car brand. The 4 different modes are Snow, Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus. It'll do exactly as you expect. In the Snow mode, the super handling all-wheel drive will be limiting power, and then building your way back up to Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus. The throttle will get a little more sensitive. The steering gets much heavier, but not obnoxiously so. If you're going through a great twisty section and you're in Sport Plus mode, it does have the same steering weight of an old BMW. But I'll tell you what is obnoxious: the synthesized noise that comes out of the speakers when you're in Sport Plus mode. I just don't like it. A demonstration, here's just me puttling along, and I'm gonna pin it right now in Comfort mode. Okay, so now you have that comparison. Now if I switch over to Sport Plus mode, right away you can hear a little more rumble. We get the 2 dials for the turbocharger and the accelerometer showing up here. The turbo is a weird monitor because it isn't actually telling me anything. It's just got a glowing purple light, and then when it activates, it turns into Hail 9000. But this is what it sounds like when you give a little bit of poke in Sport Plus mode. Can you hear that difference? I certainly can. So we're in the Platinum Elite. Conceivably, we have every kind of option you could want. Heated and ventilated front seats up here. The rear two seats are heated. We've got a heated steering wheel, 360-degree cameras, dual zone climate control. We've got Apple CarPlay initially with this system. Android Auto will be coming out soon, but the 10.2-inch display is standard equipment. We have a heads-up unit, which is massive. It might be one of the very best I have ever laid my eyes upon in this entire industry. These leather seats that we have are 16-way adjustable. In the base model, they're 12-way adjustable. And I don't really like how you switch in between different areas for the lumbar support and the thigh extension. You have a little toggle switch around this D-pad, and it's just a bit confusing. I would rather have more buttons spread out. With the additional thigh support of these seats, I think they're brilliant. All the materials are fantastic. For the soft plastics, they feel great. The leather that's up along the bridge here, and you can see there's quite a bit of open space down here below, so you could store a purse. This wood trim, I like how it cuts in to the dashboard right in front of you, and then also in this rolling out section right here. The rear visibility in this car really isn't great. Doesn't even matter if you have your headrests up or down. That D-pillar is so large that it likely contributes to why these wing mirrors that seem quite large to me. I also don't like it when car companies put the blind spot detection system within the car. I always like it being on the wing mirror itself, but for these, they're hidden in this little square that you see right here. When it comes to the rear seats, I would classify this car as maybe a 3 on the struggle test. I can definitely sit behind myself, but I don't have much really at all for knee room, and my head is grazing slightly against the back of this standard panoramic sunroof. All in all, not too bad. The heated seats back there, and how you have the USB plug too, that certainly helps this out. Now, I'm not really one to talk about storage space, but it is incredible how much is hidden underneath the floor of this RDX, and including all of that space, you still have a spare wheel as well. How amazing is that? Now, when it comes to this infotainment system, I like how you can kind of rest the base of your hand on this padded section right here, and then reaching for the trackpad is very easy. If you'd like to see me go further in depth with this infotainment system, let me know by hitting that like button. I have kind of a mixed reaction to it. I like the layout of the screen. The resolution is great. When you're looking at the graphics for the navigation, they look fantastic. But the way that you operate this thing is a bit strange. So you have the 3 dedicated buttons up here, then you have 2 different sized rectangles. This one on the left, the one closest to you, operates everything in the main display, and this is how you would access your settings, your radio. You've got to think of it as not necessarily a mouse pad where you have a mouse showing up on the screen. Wherever you are putting your finger is where you are selecting. So I find the easiest way to use this system is if you start in the very center and then you push over to the corner that you want. So no finger resting, rest right in the center, and I want AM radio, so I go right in the corner and then I select it. I really don't like is when you try to use 2 fingers to swipe up and down. You can see when you're in Apple CarPlay, it seems to glitch out. And then you have this really interesting noise every time you select something. Of course, you can turn that off and get rid of it, but a little bit of tambourine action as we get ourselves into a new Acura, and it has fun little animations every time you turn the car on and off. So it has a little bit of character. The animations also give off a little flirtatious noise of some kind of race car. With the information display in between your 2 dials, you'll see all the kind of information that you would expect. The price point has been raised up a little bit, but I really do think you get every piece of equipment you want. You have the safety tech that I didn't even mention because every car comes with that kind of technology these days. If you are looking for a compact luxury SUV, the RDX really does offer everything that you could possibly want out of this class of car, especially in this Platinum Elite trim. But I think that you should consider owning this Acura rather than going right away and buying it first thing. If you're seriously considering buying the new 2019 RDX and you are cross-shopping between a Mercedes GLC, an Audi Q5, BMW X3, the thing that they do very differently to this is how you interact with the infotainment system, whether it's a touchscreen or it's the dials down below. Those Germans have always done it very well, especially BMW. And this infotainment system does have a learning curve, so I encourage you to really play around with it before you make that commitment.